Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very welcome. Well, it's Tuesday's request day. Today's map was requested by the creator over on Discord. Link will be on the screen fairly shortly and as always is in the description. Now, it's a vanilla map, so if you're somebody who's after a nice easy vanilla map, well, you're in the right place. It's a little bit challenging in terms of playability because it is fairly undulated. It's certainly more hilly than it would appear at first glance. That said, it's not unplayable. It's far from unplayable, and there's some very pleasing things about it. They actually say in their own description that it's something a bit alien, a little bit alien about the ecosystem and the topography, and I'd kind of agree with that one. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but all of those hills, up and down and bouncing all around. I'll tell you what, it's going to make your hand really unsteady, make it really hard to click on the like button. Maybe that's why flat maps tend to get more likes, because it's just easy to keep your hand steady. Either way, thank you very much for your ongoing support. Today's map is Toadstool Bluffs. Now, I've got to say that's one of the most charming names of a map in a long while. Toadstool Bluffs. Got nothing to do with toadstools, it just feels right, doesn't it? By she-leopard. Or leopard, if you like. There's your start square. Yep, that's pretty much what you'd expect. There's your terrain heights, and even the flat areas aren't perfectly smooth. We will see that a little bit later on. Resources, a little bit patchy, but actually a little bit light, actually, isn't it? Just a little bit. What about if you've got Sunset Harbour and want to do some fishing? That's what about it. That's what it is right there. All about it. There. On the screen. Gone. Off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, we already know it's 100% vanilla. Nicely written, short, self-deprecating, a little right up there. And 370 subscribers already. We'll be using the vanilla temperate theme and the realistic 1.2 LUTs, but you knew that. Knew that. Now, trees on the highway. Normally I would make a big thing about this, and it's a very good way of instantly losing a star. Normally. Now, there's two very good reasons why I think this is less important today. But before I talk about them, it's always somebody's first show, and you may be wondering why there are trees showing through the highway. Right, I use a mod called Prop and Tree Anarchy set to show trees on map loading. This means that if you've got a detailer who is looking to put trees underneath a highway for them to show through, typically use things like abandoned railway lines. They like to put like shrubs and foliage under, so it shows through. It shows that the railway is overgrown. For that kind of detailing, and it's not just that, there are other reasons as well. You need to have the this to show trees immediately. Now, I leave this permanently switched on because trees that are underneath the highway, well, they are there. If you delete the highways, they are part of what we call the tree count, and every map has a tree count limit of approximately 250, a quarter of a million. It's closer actually to 260,000, but if we just say 250,000, a quarter of a million. Now, this is why, one of the two reasons why I don't think it really matters quite so much on this one, because I always say that this is being used, this is taken away from the trees that you can put down, and it is. If you're playing on a vanilla play, that tree that's on the highway there, that's one tree fewer that you can put down in your detailing. The thing is, this isn't a very heavily treed map. You've got a lot of trees available to put down before you even get close to hitting the tree limits. So one of the two reasons why I don't think it really matters quite so much. Yes, it does matter. Oh, also, this matters more. Let me talk about this. This is a little bit glitchy along here, and in fact, about here, you can see where it joins up with the terrain. There's a chance, I don't know, let's pull this camera back. There's a chance we might show some blue mantle. Do you know what? You got away with that one. You got away with that one. Yeah, no blue mantle. That's good. That's good. But anyway, yes. These trees do matter. They do matter because they are hidden away. They are part of the tree count, and yet you can't see them. So it'd be good if they were removed, but it's not going to really affect the tree count that much. The other reason, this is not just a vanilla map, but it's very clearly meant to be played as a vanilla play, which means the chances of the average player having proper tree anarchy on and set to always on when you're loading up the map, well, is slim. So the average person who plays this map, A, is not going to see these trees showing through the highway anyway, and B, isn't going to have to worry about tree count. They probably won't even know about a tree count. They're my reasons. So yes, they do matter. Yes, it is going to affect the score, but it isn't going to affect the score as dramatically as on some other maps. Because, truly speaking, on this map, really doesn't matter. So, hey, right, we'll just move on. We'll carry on. Now, anyway, we have highways. We have this one which will join up over here to what I'm going to call the main highway. This is like a the trunk highway that everything connects onto. So this highway here might start getting a bit busy. This one we're linking onto now, because this will now link onto the other highway, and then so everything will be running along the coast. If you're going to have anything running along a highway that might get busy along the coast, is a pretty cool idea, I feel. Now, bridges. Okay, right. Both of these bridges I think are fails. First of all, I think suspension bridge there, it's not particularly laid out massively well, and I think it's overkill. Just a regular bridge there would be better. And the rail's got a bit of a humpback on it. And so a smoother would be better, which means maybe just a little raise of the nodes on either side. And you'd have a much smoother rail bridge. And I know that this creator is definitely capable of doing both of those things, because they've got the skills. And I can prove it. Just over this ridge there's another river. And over this river we have two bridges. We have a regular rail bridge over here, which is perfectly smooth, which is what I was talking about over the other way. And we have a highway which isn't the suspension bridge. And the only grumble here would be possibly the placement of the pillars could be a little bit more realistic. But again, on this particular map, I would say what you've seen there is actually more than adequate on this map. The way that this map is going to be played. Effectively, this is a base game map. This could have come free with the game. In fact, I almost recognise it as being one of the maps that was free with the game. It's not, as far as I know, but it certainly it just feels like a base game map, doesn't it? Anyway, start square. There we go. We've got a trumpet intersection there, which is fairly neatly done. And you'll start building off in that direction. Now let's put these lines of terrain on. You'll see, yeah, we're instantly building down a fairly substantial slope. Now you can build on this. There's nothing to stop you from building on this one. But it's not an easy build. And certainly base game vanilla players would probably like something, especially in the start square, something a little bit easier to start building on. Let's come across to the rail. We could follow the highway off. I think we'll just go straight to the edge of the map down here. The rail is slightly undulated, not exactly realistic, but certainly, again, within the text of this game, the way that this particular map is due to be played. This is more than fine as well. And yes, we do have some trees on the branch line. Right, okay, we'll take an intermission. We'll come straight back after this.
Do your bridges look like the game's AI has gone on holiday? Would you like vanilla bridges to be proud of? Then you need the Beginner's Guide to Perfect Bridges by BonBonB. Click the information button below.
And yes, I do get the irony of the second bridge in that little montage being very similar to the one I grumbled about on this one. Shh. Okay? Shh. Right, okay. Shipping routes at Toadstool Bluffs by she-leopard. We've got a shipping route that follows the route of the airline. I mean, what more can you want? What more can you want? It's absolutely fine. Water flow, the river is a little narrow, but I think it's strong enough and deep enough that it probably is good enough to get you started until you get down to the coast. We have a little lake on the right hand side, which is just big enough to do something with. And And then you may have noticed little divots in the water there on the river. That is start of map water flow. That's all that. I gave it a chance to push itself through, work itself through, and there wasn't a follow-up behind it. It sorted itself out very quickly. So yes, you may want to let the game run for a few seconds so that passes through the start. You don't want to start pumping water and then there be no water to pump just because of starter map water, but that's fine. Very quick to sort itself out. So anyway, let's talk about some features. Like here, this feels like it should be a beach. Sand painting down here. It would be a very wide beach if you're going right up to this ridge on the left hand side there, but it feels like it doesn't feel necessarily poorer for not having sand on it, but anyway, we have some very interesting shaped hills. I really like these. They're consistent across the map, but they're all different, consistent but different, and I quite like these. I think if the land in between all these hills was a little bit flatter, this would actually be quite an interesting play. But yes, anyway, there's that. What more of it? We can have a look at the forests. Do you know what? Remember 100% vanilla? I like these. I think they've been done very well. They've been done sparingly. We're not overdoing it. The trees and bushes that we've used work very nicely together, accenting the fertile land up this stretch here as well. I think this is actually quite, not in terms of woodland, quite nice, and I like the way they've lined the river as well. The river is a little bit gouged. I'd like to see a little bit more finesse on the riverbanks, but it's nothing that's going to keep me awake tonight. And the lake feels a little bit underfilled. I mean, not hugely, maybe about 5 or 6 meters more water in there would make that lake just pop a little bit, or maybe it's just dry season. And that is pretty much the map. Is there anything I've missed? I'll put the terrain lines on the give you a bed. Let's go a little bit away from the start square so you can see a little bit further up this way. So yes, all the way up here, these hills are still a little bit on the slopey side, just a little bit. It's definitely buildable as you get down to the river though, and we have all these lovely trees on the river. Lovely trees alongside the river. Actually, let's have a look at where this river is spawning from. We haven't done that yet. This is a fairly pleasing, again, not most exciting thing in the world, but a fairly pleasing lake. I like the shape. I like the way the water is coming out with this little, say, rapids there as well. I mean, we don't have any rock detailing on it, but I'm quite happy with that. And this is well out of the 25 tiles, so the lack of tree detailing around there is not really a big stress. All told, like I say, fairly pleasing. Right, back to the start square, we have an asset of the day by somebody that we've seen a couple of times in the past. They are quite adept at making very nice assets. It's yinzerr, and this is the Steelers Pro Shop. Now, was it Philadelphia? I can never. I read it and I read it and I read it. It's gone again. It's either Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, or anyway, yes, it's in America. It's the Steelers. It's not Sheffield, because we have Steelers over here as well, but it's a different sort of Steeler. And factoids, because factoids, why not? Nero's wife, you met her, haven't we all? Had 500 asses at her disposal. Me and 499 others. To keep her bath continually topped up with fresh milk. Yeah, ass's milk. What better milk could there possibly be? There's a joke about pasteurised there. You know it, don't you? I'm not going to tell it. I'm not. Because it involves the word tits and... Oh, damn it! Anyway, Steelers Pro Shop by yinzerr. Today's asset of the day. That is very nice indeed. Thanks, yinzerr. Always good to have a nice quality commercial asset to pop down, make your city pop a bit. Right, was there anything else? I'm sure there was something we've missed. I was going to have... Oh, these rivers. Look at the shape of them. They're like roots going the wrong way, aren't they? Going down towards the sea. I think that's... again, I think that adds to the slightly alien aesthetic. I think credit for doing something that's just a little bit offbeat. Anyway, what do you think of today's map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right corner of your screen, or the link in the description that takes you to the voting page, where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Apple, Gmail, or a Patreon account. I'm getting good at that, aren't I? Am I getting good at rating these though? Tell me in the comments. Do you agree that aesthetically I find this very pleasing? Yes, it's 100% vanilla and it's not too bad. I think needs a little bit more polish to be a 4-star map. I think we give it a medium high 3. It's pleasing. Detail, I would go down the middle and give this a slap bang middle 3 stars, but I'm going to knock off a little bit of a star for the trees underneath the highways, because technically it's wrong and it's only fair that I mark it down, even though it doesn't really matter massively on this map. But yeah, I'm going to go slightly below middle 3 for detail. Gameplay potential, okay, yes, it's not flat as I'd like it to be for this style of map, but I think it's still playable. Still feels like a playable map to me. I'm going to go for slightly above middle 3. It feels like that to me. Toadstool Bluffs by She-Leopard. That is a pretty solid, nice, pleasing looking, slightly alien looking map. I think all of those fit, and it's not an insult because they've used the word in their own description and I've just stolen it. Alien. Anyway, speaking of words, there's a word of the day on the screen now. It should be in the spotlight. Use it as part of a sentence in the comments. Score yourself some population points just for fun to prove you are part of the 20 and out elite. Very few people make it to the very end, you know. Just prove that you are here. And I'll be back tomorrow with another map. See you then.